Hey guys, welcome back to my video. In the last two video, I show my um, brilliant win in a tournament. So it's time to show my loss um, in the tournament. So this is my round two of National Youth Chess Championship. I play against a 1300 guy. So this is not VA rating. This is national ratings. As you can see, both of us have a very weak and poor rating. So without further ado, let's check out the game. E4. My opponent played, so I'm the white pieces. I start the game with E4. My opponent played the French defense. D4, D5, knight to C3, knight F6, E5, knight D7, F4, C5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop E3, queen to B6. I played knight to A4, queen to A5 check, knight to C3. So the best move is C3 here, but I decided to play knight C3, and after queen D6, knight A4. Just repeat once. Repeat the move once, and then play C3. Yeah. I mean, this is just some psychology thing in chess. So yeah, and then only I play C3. C takes D4 was played, which is not the which is oh yeah, which is the right move. Knight takes D4. Sorry, B4. So knight takes D4 doesn't work because B5 trap my knight. Knight takes D4, he can take my knight first, bishop takes, and then B5. Then my knight is trapped. Yeah. So I have to play B4 first. Now B5 doesn't work because knight takes C5. It's a free pawn. And then I can follow by like B4, let's say. Or wait, or I can just simply take the pawn actually. Yeah. So C takes D4, and now I can't play knight to C5. So have to play the move B4. My opponent played queen to C7. The best move is sacrifice on B4, I think. No, queen C7. Okay. Yeah, okay, queen C7. Now I play knight takes D4, A6. My opponent want to play B5, and in this position, I play a really dumb move with bishop to D3. This is a bad move. I mean, this is a really careless move. So, the right move here is simply queen to D2. Point being, I simply defend my weak C3 pawn. But after bishop to D3, now my opponent played B5, remove the defender of my C3 pawn. After I moved my knight, my opponent sacrificed on E5. The point being, after takes, queen takes C3, queen to D2, because he's forking the king and the knight, and now bishop takes B4. And in this position, the only move to survive the game is knight to C6, which is a very hard move to find. So the idea of knight to C6 is you defend the E5 pawn. Right, also you attack the B4 bishop. So after takes, if you take my knight, I'll take your bishop, and after takes, castles, and black can't castles. White got a really nice attacking chances because the center is too open. So white is winning. White is like clearly white have a better winning chances. So queen takes d2, bishop takes d2, takes, and now black got 3 pawn for a piece. Okay, and the e5 pawn is defended. If bishop b7, then there's knight a5. So this is really, I mean, to calculate all this is really tough. I mean, I play the move king to e2 just to unpin, and my opponent can simply take on e5 actually. Now my opponent got 4 pawn for a piece, which is good, which is extremely good. I mean, the center is too strong. I mean, the endgame is very good for black. I mean, because he have a really nice center pawn, center pass pawn, the connected pass pawn. You know, so I think, yeah, if black play an endgame after queen takes c3, I think black is extremely good. It's doing extremely good. However, my opponent played queen to a3. He trying to prevent endgame. Because like a piece, I mean, a piece is a piece, so white have some chances if black makes some mistakes. So my opponent decided to not trade the queen, and I played queen to c2. Bishop to b7 was played. I played knight to f3. So now my opponent didn't take my e5 pawn, so I just go defend it. Rook c8. My opponent trying to activate all his pieces. I go queen b3, trying to trade queen. The best move is just trading the queens and play some bishop c3. Attack my knight, and after this, take the e5 pawn, and again my opponent have 4 pawn for a piece, which is very good. However, my opponent again decided to not trade the queen and play queen to a5. This is a mistake because now I have to move a4, trying to open up the rook, and I think I can win a pawn here. If takes rook takes a4, I win a bishop. I win this bishop. If you don't take, I will take you, and then the rook is attacking the queen, and I can win some pawn here. So now white is actually better. Rook c3 was played. I simply move back my queen, queen to c7, and yeah, I can take this pawn, but I decided to play bishop to d4 to prevent d4, because just prevent the bishop, like prevent black from open up this bishop, and also simply defend my pawn. And it's a weak square, right? It's a weak square. So I play bishop to d4, and white have a really good position, you know. So my opponent play castles. I takes, and in this position, because it's 30 minutes game, is like a slow rapid or like a fast classical game. So in this position, I already in a huge, like a very serious, very serious time trouble. So under a very serious time pressure, I play a blunder, which is bishop takes c3. I mean, like, it's a free rook, man. It's a free rook. After castles, I can already take the bishop, right? Sorry, I can already take the rook. I decided to take the pawn first. Now I'm trying to play a takes b5. Sorry, b takes a6. My opponent played a takes b5, and this is a blunder. I mean, you know. So there's a very good quote, which is, you never lose, right? You never lose. You only win or learn. I think this is a very good example, because um you can really learn a lot from this loss. I mean, like, you just take the material, but it's a blunder. You know what I'm saying? So why this is a blunder? Because I give up a very nice defender of my king. You know, because my king is very weak. You know, it's in the center, like in this position, it's already very weak. And that is also why my opponent decided to not trade the queen, I think, because he trying to attack my king. But somehow I survive. But in this position, bishop takes c3. I first of all give up one of my very strong pieces. Also a very nice defending pieces. The bishop defend all of the dot square. Second, the bishop is defending the pawn. Right after takes, my opponent can take my pawn. And thirdly, my opponent now after rook c1 can play d4, open up the bishop, and like another pieces join the attack. Now, in this position, I thought like it's winning for white actually, it's winning for black, Actually, it's winning for black. I'm quite surprised, because I'm winning some material and I thought my king would be safe after some move. But turns out that no, So d4 was played. I played queen to c2. My opponent played bishop takes f3, pawn takes, and queen takes e5. And now is a rook versus 4 pawn. So I thought winning a rook is just I'm winning a full rook. I mean, it's not a full rook, a rook for 4 pawn or 3 pawn in this position. So I thought I'm completely winning. I'm up a rook. I mean, the pawn is only the pawn will only be useful in the endgame. But right now, I mean, it's not even an endgame. Like how on earth is this winning for black? I'm quite surprised. Also, I mean, this is a very good lesson. This is a very very good lesson of um uh evaluation and understanding. I mean, it's very hard to understand this. Like, this is a blunder, and then suddenly I lost because I'm up a rook because sorry I'm up a rook, but my rook is useless here. No, it's useless here. So if my opponent can attack before I activate my rook, my opponent will be winning. Queen f4, a very strong move. Attack my pawn. I can't defend with my queen because the rook is hanging. So I play knight d1, takes. He's supposed to play b4, but okay. He takes, I play knight f2. Now I feel like my knight joined the defend, and I feel good. But okay, knight e5. My opponent bring another piece to join the attack. I take a pawn, which is a blunder, and then go back, trying to defend. But now queen f4. Again, my queen is tied down because my rook will be hanging. So I play rook g1, trying to play something like this. But now f5. My bishop moves somewhere, knight to g4. And I just realized that I'm just completely losing. After this, like in this position, I'm just completely losing. Knight takes f2 is a threat. Queen takes f2, queen takes e1. Knight e3 is another threat. That's a fork. Knight h2 maybe. Yeah, okay. This is the main threat, right? So I have to sacrifice my rook, and now suddenly I'm not up in material. It's a knight versus 4 pawn, and my opponent have a really nice, like all of my opponent pieces is doing really well, and my pieces is really unconnected. So I play rook d1 and then queen takes h2 and then g3, and then the position is completely losing. My opponent can actually play yeah, but okay, because like after takes I have rook h3, which is still losing, so actually it doesn't really matter. After queen takes h2, I play rook h3, and this is a very easy endgame to win with black, because I mean 4 pawn is just too much. I tried to defend all the light square, but it's very hard for the bishop to defend both sides. Like, I have to defend the pawn on the queen side, on the center, and on the king side. Yeah, so my opponent just bring the king in and put all his pawn on the. He will put all his pawn on the light square and promote the one of the pawn. I will be completely losing. So in this position, I resign the game. So I mean, this is a really good lesson. I mean, this is a really good lesson. So I play a good opening. I get a good position after the opening. Like I failed to realize this is my weakness, and I thought like just activate all of my pieces, but my opponent get a very nice position. He get 4 pawn for a piece, but he make a wrong choice. He decided to keep the queen. I think the endgame is good enough for black pieces. But okay, it's reasonable to keep the queen, but like, yeah, I know my king is weak, but you don't have you don't have many pieces to attack me. Like, also, I have many defenders, so it's not easy to attack my king actually. So I think trading the queen is the best for black actually. But okay, somehow I survived. I have a really good pieces and good defense, and I'm up in material. I take the pawn, and the best move is actually simply take the pawn. You know, I'm up a piece. I don't have to win another piece. I'm just up a pawn. I'm actually worried about rook to c2 actually in the game. But okay, king f1. Like, what is black doing here? I'm just really insane. Bishop d3 is coming next, and my king will be very safe. And yeah, after this, I think the rook have to move back, and I think my king will be safe after g3, and then bring the rook in the game. Maybe rook f1, or even rook c1. Just trying to trade pieces after this. Rook c1, trying to trade everything, and I think white will be winning. I decided to being greedy and take the rook, and fail to understand how. Like, I just underestimate black's attack here. Just underestimate that because my king is weak, my pieces is unconnected, is disconnected also, and like, yeah, yeah. So this is only round 2, and I already lost. But of course, my opponent um is not a bad player. He's also a very strong player in Malaysia. So yeah, that's all for today. Hope you guys can learn something with it, and stay tuned for my next few video.